All right. Hello. Well, what are the physical changes I have experienced while getting to my current weight? I'm going to break this into 3 categories: negatives, positives, and funny. So we'll start with the negatives. External. Most obvious right off the bat. Excess skin. Also known as the flying squirrel effect. I had a huge belly and plenty of trunk junkage. So now that most of that's gone, I don't have to worry about renting a wingsuit. So there's that. That's looking on the bright side, right? It's amazing how great I feel now, but unfortunately there's only so much you can push things before your skin just doesn't want to snap back to where it was in the beginning. Thankfully there's ways to fix some of that stuff with surgery. Please don't ask me to say the name of it. Something that ends in ectomy, but that's all I can really try and safely trust myself to pronounce. So 2 things I want to mention if you're looking into that. Apparently, unless they paid to cover you getting the weight loss surgery of some sort, insurance companies don't like to cover skin reduction surgery, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but since I can't change the situation, it also doesn't make a lot of sense to dwell on it, so I won't do that either. Number 2, you can ask and be as persuasive as you like, but your doctor will probably not agree with you and won't let you keep your skin that's removed to make a leather binder for a weight loss journal. You could try though. Let me know your results in the comments below. I'd be interested to hear. So let's see, another negative, hygiene is an even bigger issue for me now than it was before, and not just for the obvious reason. One of the very few positive things about being so large is that with stretched skin comes stretched pores. I had very few issues with acne when I was very large, but now it's a struggle, even with daily use of like the apricot scrub and Neutrogena oil-free face wash stuff. Though to be fair, I think another part of the challenges I'm facing are also related to me sweating a lot more. Because obviously, like I used to not want to be the fat guy, the sweaty fat guy, because I thought it would draw attention to me being fat. But anyways, speaking of sweat, I for some reason thought that it would call additional attention to me being fat if I were sweaty. The same way I would avoid stairs if I knew I had to speak to somebody right afterwards. It was all part of hiding my shame, though looking back, I'm mortified that I could think at the time it actually made a difference. It really doesn't. I mean, doing this, if you can see, you could see. It's anyhow. The kind of people who would make fun of you for being sweaty just because you're fat are not the kind of people who are invested in or would even care about your success anyways. So I don't know why I cared, but I did. Now, I don't. If I'm sweaty, oh well. I'll take a shower when I can. Right? Thank goodness I work from home, so I can do that more often. But even still, it can be a challenge sometimes. Because it's natural. Of course, it's natural to care what people think. That's how we learn as babies, and we're taught to be functioning people. Moving our way through society. Right? Monkey see, monkey do. That kind of thing. Anyhow, another negative. Has it always been this cold? What the heck? Okay, so I should probably preface, I want to apologize to all the skinny people who I made fun of for being cold when it was winter. Just so you know, that's like one of the only benefits of being super fat, okay? Well then, carbs, soda, but of course that kills you faster, so not really a benefit, right? Plus, you're skinny, so just be cool and accept you got to take this one for the team and look like an Eskimo. Well, fat people like me were rocking flip-flops and shorts. That's all. Internal. Great news. I have not noticed any negative internal issues so far from losing weight. That's been really nice. So now let's move on to positives. External. I lost the majority of the rolls on the back of my head. I think I can't see it. I mean, if only I had eyes there. But I'm pretty sure there's only the one that I can feel. Maybe 1 1/4, 1 1/2. Anyhow, there used to be 5. maybe 6, depending. Like you move your head, you create more. But like, yeah, I had a lot. My beard, when I still had it, became a lot thicker and looked more full, probably because my skin on my face was shrinking up. So as my pores became closer together, as my face shrunk, made my beard look better. Makes sense. Speaking of, I have a chin and jawline now. That's new. That's pretty cool. I'm also starting to see some muscle definition, along with starting to build muscles that went unused for far too long. That's been awesome to get to a point where I'm seeing outward results from the effort. For probably over a year, the only thing that ever really changed was a number on the scale, and I had to tighten my belt, put in a new notch every now and then. But yeah, it was incredibly discouraging. It felt like giving up a lot of the time, but I don't think you can stand still in this game. Like, it's either growth or atrophy, gain or loss, something like that, right? Like, you're either moving forwards or moving backwards, and I feared what would happen if I didn't push forward. But I mean, it was only a glimmer of hope for a long time, is what I'm trying to say. Right? It wasn't like there was immediate results and yay, it was just a glimmer of hope that stayed a glimmer of hope that didn't get brighter for such a long time. So I had to trust eventually I would see the results, because the change takes time. And let's face it, my body had a lot of molecules that it had to move around. I mean, there was a lot of changes that it had to do. So next thing, I have veins now that I can see under. Okay, so I don't know if you can. Yeah, you can actually see it. You can see that now. I couldn't see that for years. Yeah, they were under a layer of insulation. So, kind of funny, but also really a good thing. So, for practical purposes, because now they can actually find a vein if they have to put in an IV. That was actually an issue for me when I went to the hospital and I was there for a week. They couldn't find a vein. They had to try 4 times in the ER. Anyways, that was a positive. Sorry, that went a little bit negative there. But let's see, another positive. My clothes stopped fitting as expected, but I didn't expect that would be the same thing for my shoes. I feel kind of like I'm a kid going through a growth spurt again, which is weird. I've had to replace my walking shoes twice now in the last year, which, side note, there is now not a single piece of clothing in my closet that is too small for me now. That's the first time I've ever been able to actually say that in my life. That's pretty cool. I've always had like one thing that I'm like, oh, it doesn't fit, but I'll get back to it. Like I'll get back in shape. I'll lose the weight and but it doesn't happen that way. Let's see. So that's enough for the external stuff. Let's move to the internal stuff. So I have not had to take Pepto, Tums, Gaviscon, Gas-X, or Imodium in months. I won't go into the details, but if you read the box for those, you'll get the idea. Yeah. I don't have joint pain in all of my major joints anymore. I think this is from having to carry less weight combined with having better flexibility. Since there isn't as much to get in the way of my bending and twisting, my joints are much happier with me. My resting heart rate has gone down. My blood pressure has gone down. My oxygen levels in my blood have increased. Actually got one of those finger things back when I had bacterial pneumonia, and so I check it often. And this one is particularly huge for me. So when I was discharged from the hospital, they didn't know whether I would get off of oxygen. So late 30s, that could have been the rest of my life carrying around an oxygen tank. So I checked that pretty regularly just to make sure I'm still good, and always high 90s. So amazing. And I no longer have shortness of breath, even after taking stairs 2 at a time with a backpack of 70 pounds on it. No problem. I no longer need to use my CPAP at night. That's a huge one too. Because as much as I enjoyed the fact that I could breathe, it was a huge pain to wear all the time. I wake up headache free and refreshed, no exception. except for those, occasional rough nights everyone has from stress and such, where you just don't get super good sleep. But I don't wake up with a headache on those, or after those. It was the headaches and exhaustion actually that caused me to investigate the issue in the first place. I was getting really bad headaches every day, and I was exhausted every day, and I was sleeping for 9-10 hours, and no matter how much I slept, it didn't matter. I still felt horrible. But yeah, that was what caused me to go in and figure out what was going on to begin with, and now I don't have those symptoms, and it's been over 2 months. So I haven't used it. No headaches waking up. No issues with sleep outside of, like I said, those stressful nights. Huge game changer. So mental health. I'm going to be making a video talking about the mental health aspects of this experience, but I haven't worked up the courage to tackle that particular one yet, because that's going to be obviously emotional. So let's move on to funny. I shaved my beard when I hit 225, and I didn't recognize myself, which sounds strange, but I actually startled myself when I was glancing in the mirror. I woke up in the middle of the night, had to use the restroom, and I forgot I had shaved, so I got startled. And anyways, it was funny. I was chuckling at myself. I couldn't fall back asleep very easily, because once your heart rate, anyways, that was a funny night. I was alright with losing some sleep over that one. That was funny. But speaking of shaving my beard, okay, I don't know quite how to say this, so I'm just going to say it. I was terrified that I would shave my beard and that I would have turkey neck. But I was overjoyed that I only have a slight gobble. See? It's pretty awesome. I'm not sure when I exactly noticed along the way, but also I have armpits again. Seems sort of strange to be excited about that, but honestly, there was no concave. It was like a Ken doll arm joint up in there. It was just a hinge. It was, yeah. But also, I've tried to figure out the best way to say this. So, how do I put it? I am no longer human, and have now evolved into a higher form of being. I've been accepted as one of them, and have now Shar-Pei. I really thought this would be more pronounced across my body, actually, but I've been lucky. As I've been building muscle, it's helped take up some of the space left behind. But yeah, I'm going to continue to be better than yesterday's me, and I believe that you can be too. But for now, thank you for allowing me to spend time among you, oh kind humans, but I must now take my place among my new adopted family. Goodbye.